What is masking? Why children mask? What are the consequences of masking in terms of a child's social emotional development? And what, as clinicians and parents, we can do about preventing masking in young children? This is the focus of today's video. According to Pearson and Rose 2021, masking is the conscious or unconscious way of suppressing natural responses across several domains, including sensory processing, including social communication, interaction, behavior. Camouflaging, adaptive morphing, and compensation are other terminologies used for autistic masking. Autistic individuals typically mask to be accepted, to fit in, and not to be treated poorly by fellow peers or people around them. They want to feel belonged, and in order to acquire that aspect of the social status, they tend to mask even their movements and other ways of expression, which you and I may not be able to understand because firstly, I'm not an autistic individual and I'm talking about it, but I'm presenting this so that we as a group or as a community can create awareness about autistic individuals, what they're experiencing in terms of masking, and how we can advocate about preventing masking for autistic individuals. This is just one among the many aspects that I'll be covering as we go forward. Here are some of the consequences or social and emotional challenges that autistic individuals face because of masking. Firstly, you can see children coming back from school and having a meltdown. You could see that their self-identity and self-worth is getting lost. It becomes hard to diagnose a child who is constantly masking. It can lead to suppressing their own interests and buying others' interests, including non-autistic individuals' interests, to be able to fit in, which means they are going through a lot of anxiety while suppressing their emotions as a whole. It can lead to low self-esteem, chronic anxiety and stress, and trying to please non-autistic individuals even at the cost of their own social, physical, and emotional well-being. Here are at least 3 things that we can do to help our autistic children protect themselves from masking or prevent masking in autistic children. First, one of the first things to do when it comes to helping autistic children prevent them from masking is accepting them for who they are, who their authentic self is, without passing judgments or criticizing. So when you primarily understand who an autistic child is or what challenges the autistic child is experiencing because of the neurotype, you will be more welcoming and you will be more accommodating, and you can support accommodations and provide other strategies to help them be their self without having the need to mask and please people around them. It starts with each one of you by accepting who the autistic individual is. With this, we move towards self-advocacy. Teach self-advocacy. When you help autistic individuals understand their differences and the way they are wired because of an underlying neuro-wiring difference, they become more confident in themselves and they can speak up for themselves. They can say, I did not understand what you said. I missed what you were talking. Can you repeat it for me? Or they can also ask for certain things to be given to them more visually rather than only auditory input, because majority of our autistic children are visual learners. These are some of the self-advocacy applications that you can do for your kids. And if the children are way too young, as grown-ups, as clinicians, as teachers, as parents, you can provide options, and you yourself can do self-advocacy or advocate for your autistic children by educating the people around you. Includes family, includes neighbors, includes school management and other fellow humans around you that being autistic is a different way of wiring, and we need to help autistic individuals be their authentic self. That's self-advocacy, and also advocating for someone who has a diagnosis of autism. Communicate autistic differences. You need to explain to the child, if they are ready to understand what autism is and why the differences in wiring are for. Then you can also talk to them about the communication differences among different neurotypes. You can explain to them how neurotypicals communicate and how autistic individuals communicate, and that there are two different ways of communication and it's all right. And you also can explain to them different terminologies about information dumping. You can talk to them about autism inertia, alexithymia, quite a few terminologies to understand. We will uncover them maybe some other time, but for now, explain to them the differences in wiring and that it is okay for them to be their autistic self, because if we don't give this kind of education to our children, they tend to blame themselves for being the way they are, and that can lead to low self-esteem and loss of identity. So it is important to help them know that they are not at fault. It's just the way they are wired, and it's okay to be wired that way, and there's nothing wrong in it. It's just a different way of being human. We also must be careful to teach autistic individuals about autistic boundaries. They don't have to necessarily say yes to everything. They don't have to necessarily buy in everything that non-autistic individuals give them. They can say no. There has to be emotional boundaries. When they're not comfortable, they're not going to do something. They should be able to say, no, I'm not comfortable. I don't want to do this today. Number two, you need to teach them about physical boundaries, to what extent people can come close to them, how people can touch them, and you can also talk about how proximal they should be to another person and what is okay and what is not okay. These are some things about physical boundaries. You need to teach them about financial boundaries, that the money that they own is theirs and they don't have to necessarily give it away to whoever asks them just because they want to fit in and feel belonged. That is about financial boundaries. Social boundaries, you need to let them know in a society that they are living in, what are the different boundaries people have and how they can be a part of it and how they can create their own boundaries in a given societal norm or a form or a place that they are living around. These are some of the aspects that we can do in order to prevent masking for autistic children. Let me summarize. We started by understanding what is autistic masking. We understood why autistic individuals mask, what are the different terminologies, and what are the consequences of masking. We've also seen a few aspects of how to prevent masking. Firstly, we will create an awareness and we ourselves will accept autism. Two, we spoke about advocating. One is we advocate for autistic individuals, and two, we teach them self-advocacy. We also spoke about setting boundaries and why is it important for our autistic individuals to have boundaries around them and appreciate boundaries of other people. And we lastly also saw about understanding the communication differences of different neurotypes. I hope today's session has helped you to understand what autistic masking is all about and how, as a community, you and I can prevent this masking, how you and I can support and advocate for autism and help our autistic individuals live a life of dignity without going through judgments and criticisms or feeling guilt and shame. If you liked watching this video, click a like and subscribe to this channel. I will come back with more such topics that might interest you on autism and feeding therapy.